Welcome back, everybody, to Fintech Fridays. I'm Brian Vieaux, President, Chief Operating Officer of FinLocker, and your host of this little podcast. And excited today to have Steve Gaenzler. Steve is the Senior Vice President and Chief Innovation Officer at HomeGenius and HomeGenius Real Estate, which are Radian businesses. Steve, welcome to my little podcast.
Oh, thanks, Brian. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you and I have had a bazillion conversations, some fun ones, but now we get to record one and share it to the audience. So that'll be cool. And I'm super stoked to kind of drill in and share with my audience what you all have been doing at HomeGenius. I came to know that business, if you will, in its prior iteration when Radian acquired Red Bell Real Estate. I don't know, was it 10, 12, some years ago, something like that?
8 or 9, probably.
8 or 9, and in my prior life at Flagstar, we contracted with Red Bell back then. I thought it was a super cool application of real estate tech, but where you guys have taken the platform is pretty darn interesting and very innovative. So I'm excited to kind of drill into that with you.
Well, likewise. I hope I can keep the audience excited.
Oh, you'll do great. You'll do great. So maybe let's start a little bit for those that aren't aware that HomeGenius is a Radian company. Just kind of talk a little bit about that business and the structure and kind of how it fits in the Radian family.
Yeah, absolutely. So HomeGenius Real Estate and the HomeGenius family of companies are combined entity. HomeGenius Real Estate is a licensed brokerage in all 50 states, and so we are providing technology and brokerage services to qualified participants that are active in real estate. So what does that mean? We're developing platforms, so platforms as a service, actual services, and other technologies that help to support activities in real estate. So whether it's agents, consumers, other participants. Our tools are typically B2B or B2B2C in nature. And the real focus is helping to create kind of this ecosystem of long-term engagement by keeping participants informed about real estate and helping them identify and transact real estate. And so Radian is a 45-year-old plus company, traded publicly on the New York Stock Exchange, one of the largest private mortgage insurance companies in the United States. And so we have really, really strong relationships with a lot of different consumers and consumer bases, meaning lenders, agents, consumers, investors. And HomeGenius is an opportunity for us to expand out into other real estate services that we think are complementary to the real estate transaction, and think about how we can disrupt that in a positive way to reduce friction and increase the pleasure of doing a real estate transaction.
Yeah. So if we kind of poke a little bit at that and maybe peel a layer deeper, you kind of live in that real estate ecosystem from the very top of the funnel where prospective home buyers are utilizing online search through your HomeGenius platform, all the way through kind of the back end, if you will, in servicing, where servicers through the technology have access to property values and BPOs and things of that sort. And there's a kind of a myriad and mix of products and services in between. Is that kind of fair to assess it that way?
Yeah, I think right, writ large, I think you're spot on in that Radian as an organization now has capabilities that span all the way from what we'll say search, right, through evaluate and then transact. And it's kind of those three kind of cornerstone stages of the real estate transaction. And then ownership, right? We like to call it search to own.
Yeah.
And so it's not just about being in a transaction per se, it's about being part of that journey that a consumer has with real estate over the course of their lifetime. And frankly, how to leverage technologies that we might have that other people either don't have or don't have the data to be able to build or don't have the technology skills to be able to put in place. How do we get that to them so they can empower, right? They can be empowered to make sure those relationships stay sticky. Right?
Yeah.
How are you top of mind with your customers? And there's a lot of nurturing, as you know, from the FinLocker business, a terrific opportunity to nurture, right? Get to top of funnel. And so we think of it very similarly in that it's all about creating opportunities for consumers and then the ecosystem of constituents that they participate with in that real estate transaction to stay engaged and stay informed. And my organization in particular from an innovation standpoint, we're charged with then using data science as that differentiator, right? Finding ways to leverage technologies, cutting edge, bleeding edge, and other data science technologies to create some of that differentiation that increases that stickiness.
So I have a little bit of experience with what you're describing because when my oldest son and his girlfriend were looking at homes, I was kind of riding around and I had my HomeGenius account. So I was plugging in properties and checking the HomeGenius valuation and comparing it to the listing price and using that. But there's some things that you all are doing for consumers that are in that kind of search space to help them really narrow down and filter homes that really are what they're looking for. And we all know and are used to being able to create a filter on price range and geography and number of beds and number of baths and things like that. But you guys have taken it to a different level, which is super cool. And I want to kind of talk about how you're leveraging the AI layer and the consumer engagement, utilizing images to help augment or supplement or amplify that search filter capability.
Yeah, it's our goal is to increase the uber personalization for consumers, right? The world is moving in this kind of super personalization, uber personalization kind of direction. And real estate in particular is a very visual experience. It's a very emotional experience.
Yeah.
Right. You and I walk into the same house and right. I'm a big fan of, a certain color and I see that wall and I'm attracted to it. You might have a totally different picture of what you think that wall should look like. And just the color has an emotional impact. And so we know that, bridging the gap between the past, searching on beds, bathroom square footage, and the future, personalization is all about being able to understand the optical, right? How consumer behavior is impacted. What is the cognizant decision that's made from this emotional criteria that somebody has when they look at a house? The price of a house is where it's going to transact, but the value of the house is very personal.
Yeah.
You and I walk in the same house and you might think the house is actually worth more than the price. Value is higher than price, and therefore you want to own that house. I might look at that house and say, well, I don't want a pool in the backyard because of this or this and this. So my value is lower than the price. And so I don't want to own that house. And so we know that consumers are emotional, right? They're intelligent, and we want to save them time in that process. And so we've invested a pretty significant amount of time, effort, and energy and resources into developing some proprietary artificial intelligence, deep learning systems around computer vision and image recognition. And that's what you're referring to. And our technology is, we refer to as HomeGenius IQ. It's the ability for our systems to evaluate images just based on the images. So no other metadata, right? We don't know where the house is located, where the pictures come from necessarily, but evaluate that image and identify things like what room in the house is it, right? Identify objects in that house that would be of value to a consumer in their experience. And then really importantly, identify condition, like the condition of a property. And we actually built deep learning models benchmarked off of the GSE's kind of prescriptive guidance to appraisers and built models to do that. And so if you think about it from a search perspective or a valuation perspective, even consumers can now, create that dream vision of what they want their property to be that they're looking for, and they can instantaneously get recommendations back that are built off of these more optical decisions. So a consumer through our search engine can just say, I want, excellent kitchens and excellent walk-in closets.
Yeah.
And we have analyzed, right, every property that's on the market and identified then from all those properties, which ones have similar, just say, conditions. But then we also take it a step further, and we've allowed now consumers to deepen that personalization by looking at objects that they care about. So I want hardwood floors in my kitchen, but I want tile in my bathroom. I want carpeting in my family room. I want a screened-in porch with a ceiling fan. I want a fireplace in my bedroom for some reason. And so now we're getting way past just the traditional static data of bed bathrooms, where many houses, right, the average house in the United States is 45 years old. So the facades of many houses are the same, while the guts and interiors are very different.
Right.
So our technology allows the consumer to actually get inside that house and make those kind of critical determinations around what is their vision dream home, simply by using the information that we've created through HomeGenius IQ. And the last thing I'll just say real quickly, we've actually recently implemented that same kind of vision technology in what we call reverse image search. We're allowing then consumers to actually upload their own images. So I come to your house for a cocktail party. I love your new kitchen. I take a photo. My wife's driving down the street and she sees this beautiful stone front porch. She wants it. Take a photo, right? Somebody's out playing in Pinterest or some other platform and they liking a bunch of image, upload them and use that to drive the recommendation system of what homes you might be interested in.
That's amazing. Because, when I think about the inverse to that is especially in this environment with inventory where it's at, and you nailed it on the head with the average age of homes in the US at 45 years. There's an aged population of properties out there. And so a lot of times, and then you got this proliferation of, all the home renovation shows that are running rampant on TV.
Yep.
So I think consumers are getting better at kind of having the art of the possible mentality. Like, okay, I understand this house looks like this right now and I could do these things and improve it. But I love what you're doing is you're kind of doing the inverse of that and saying, there's already properties on the market that meet what you're looking for. And if you upload a photo of this kitchen, we're going to go show you those properties that best match or meet that kitchen criteria for you within your other, filter criteria. And I think that's super
right.
cool.
Geography and some static data used to be the kind of the personalization.
Yeah.
But now the right Pandora's box is open and consumers have through these technologies far greater ways to personalize, save, share those searches with other people, right? And really understand and make better decisions in a more timely way. It used to be you'd be sliding through 1,000 photos, right? To see, is this the kitchen I really want? Is this the kitchen the condition I want? And it goes in reverse. You have investors that are looking for properties that are fixer-uppers.
Right.
They don't want moving condition. They want the opposite. And they'd be even worse. They'd be searching through, I need to find bad homes.
Yeah.
Well, in our systems, you simply say, I want to find these poor quality homes, and we will simply provide those, right, as the recommendation return. So it's a really powerful personalization tool set. And really the kind of the starting point for a lot of the other use cases we have for HomeGenius IQ and our computer vision technology.
So that totally makes sense on the, I'll call it up funnel search side of the transaction. But now let's take me. I'm a homeowner. We've been in our house for 20 some years, and we're starting to contemplate, what room should we renovate next, and potentially what does that do for value? How does HomeGenius help the current homeowner besides providing kind of a very powerful AVM, if you will, or valuation estimate? What else is it doing for the current homeowner?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, if you think about why we invested so heavily in computer vision technology, right? We strongly believe that again, this is the future set. And so when we actually embarked on taking my team and getting involved in this part of the artificial intelligence world specifically, we identified 50 plus different use cases right off the top, right? And we've already put into market a number of them. One of them is what we call augmented valuations. And so it is actually the ability for consumers to upload images, right, of their own home or of that dream home into a house, and then we will scan those images and augment the data we have to enhance the valuation of that property in real time.
Yeah.
And so if you're thinking about a home equity loan and you want to get a real sense of what you think the valuation is, right? But your house hasn't transacted in a number of years. Maybe you've done some renovations along the way, right? And you're thinking about pre-qualifying or qualifying or looking for an opportunity from a lender. Upload images, right? And then allow us to give you a real-time, super personalized valuation on that property. And that's for current homeowners, right? You don't need to be looking for a house. It has to be somebody who is thinking about that property that they own today and wanted to see what that value is today.
So these are all like really cool, innovative ways for consumers to interact with the technology and get value out of it that they otherwise can't get anywhere else. Almost all of our audience, are participants in the mortgage manufacturing process, all the way from
Sure.
origination through servicing. So maybe let's talk a little bit about how you're partnering with lenders and other players in the industry to deliver your technology to their prospects and customers.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and frankly, use the right word, partnering. Right? How are we partnering with lenders and other participants in the space? It's just that, right? As a real estate brokerage, like we have the ability to assist, right, consumers who are active in in real estate transactions, and by leveraging some of the relationship we have with the lender community as well, we have what we call toolkits, right? Which it's a platform as a service, if you will, right, where we can help embed technologies that will also help to augment that experience for consumers through those additional channels. And so we partner with those lenders, right, either through co-marketing, co-branding, other relationships, where we can help them, right, create some additional up-funnel stickiness,
Right.
right, in that transaction, and it's a win-win.
And I think I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about how you partner with the real estate community around helping them with a significantly more efficient kind of BPO or value. Losing the term here when they're. Go ahead.
So our valuation technology we call Genius Price, right?
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we've actually done a couple of different things. So I mentioned some of the technology we have around HomeGenius IQ or computer vision, right? And so we actually built that into other parts of our platform as a service and services technologies, in particular on valuation. And so if a consumer is looking for an automated value, or a lender is looking for automated value, or an agent as well in their existing process, so they're marketing, right? And so they want to maintain some of that engagement with their clients. Well, one of the differentiations that we have is because we're investing in data science and the art of artificial intelligence, we're making investments that other brokerages are not, right? Either because it's not kind of their core business activities, because they just don't have the requisite skills. Many of them may not even have the requisite data, right? Organized in the proper way. We spent years organizing this massive data repository to be curated in a way that can be leveraged easily for analytical development and then delivery. And so we really fulfill a service for the agent community and the brokerage community that is pretty unique, right? And so we can actually empower them by integrating directly into their systems with these technologies. And so you think about, again, take that search, for example, right? Even brokerages, right? They're all competing against like the same kind of couple large folks out there, the Zillows and the CoStars. And so we're all challenged at how do we maintain that differentiation. And so even something as simple as taking this unbelievable, radically revolutionary search experience, but making that available through brokerages to their consumers, right, really helps to create more and more of that engagement that they're looking for. They can use it, again, for marketing campaigns, to maintain their existing sphere, right, to generate existing, deeper relationships with those folks. It's a really, really powerful opportunity for them to leverage technology that they wouldn't otherwise have access to, because we're building it out and we're making it available to them.
Yeah, when I think about, I oftentimes when I'm talking to folks like you and on this podcast, I try to put myself back into my former life as a lender, and how would I and my company use these tools to help us grow our business, right? And I think in terms of real estate search, if we just stay on that one aspect of it, I mean, let's be real. Everyone pretty much has access to the same set of MLS data, so it's rare that you're going to see, properties for sale on one versus another. But what you all have with the ability to take images and create those unique filters is truly differentiating. And I think from my former seat managing a mortgage production shop, as a differentiator at the top of the funnel to attract more eyeballs and more early journey home buyers, I think that consumer experience is enough of a differentiator for someone to say, oh, that's pretty interesting. I think that would work for me. And I just think lenders should be looking at different ways to find ways to be very differentiated at the very top of the funnel to get the eyeball, and then to keep them engaged and nurtured through and through the transaction.
Yeah, and then beyond the transaction, right?
Yeah.
Lenders have generally a very trusted relationship with a consumer, especially one that's in their portfolio. And so you have this, I take the typical life cycle of ownership and say it's 7 to 10 years. Just say 10 years for argument's sake. And during that time frame, a servicer or like a lender in the servicing division are doing their job effectively, right? They're servicing the property, they're servicing the loan, right? They're doing all the things that you as a consumer need. But then there's this point in time, right, at some point where that consumer is going to do something that doesn't traditionally include going to their lender.
Right.
Right. And so lenders are challenged because, they want to build relationships. They want to help, if a consumer is going into a transaction, they want to understand how they can assist in, maintaining that relationship through engagement of search, of valuation, all these different tools that are not traditionally found in that avenue. But by partnering with us, right, we give them the opportunity to kind of move themselves back up funnel and to be able to, participate in that full 10 years, not 9.5 years of that cycle where they lose that contact because they don't have those skill sets. And so partnering with us, I think, gives them the ability to potentially have those skill sets as part of their overall relationship with their consumers. And that's where we think that, right, we can make a big difference for the lender community.
I love it. Steve, this has been super helpful to me. Help me better understand your technology and solutions. I'm confident that our audience, mostly lenders, are going to be kind of thinking differently about how they find different unique ways to engage consumers up the funnel and through and beyond the relationship. I appreciate you coming on and sharing the HomeGenius story. And look forward to maybe a follow-up not too long down the road to see where you guys are taking the product next.
Well, I appreciate it. We have a lot of research and development going on, and there's a lot of opportunity for expanding the use of artificial intelligence in an ethical and educational way for consumers. So we're really
empowering. I think it's ethical, educational, and empowering for consumers. I love it.
It is.
Thank you, Steve, and thanks everybody
Brian,
for tuning in. Come back next Friday for our next episode. Thank you. All right. Perfect. We nailed the time and everything.
Perfect. What was the time? Was it? Yeah.
We just have to wait one more second. You should see a little uploading or